in 2 Corinthians chapter 12. This is where Paul was talking about the thorn in the flesh. If we start in verse 7, 2 Corinthians chapter 12. To keep me from becoming conceited because of these surpassing great revelations, there was given me a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan, to torment me. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. This is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weakness and in insults and in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Look at verse 9. But he said to me, my grace will be sufficient. My grace might be sufficient. My grace could be sufficient. What did he say? My grace is sufficient. What does that mean? It's an absolute, isn't it? It's a promise. It's a done deal. His grace is sufficient in all things, whatever we face. No matter what the circumstance is, here Paul had a thorn in the flesh. There's been speculations of what it could have been, but it was something that bothered him. And he prayed 3 times to have him remove it. And the answer was that my grace is sufficient. Not that you have to do anything more. It's sufficient. It's going to get you through. And when Paul got that answer, what was his attitude then after that? It doesn't matter what happens to me now then, does it? No matter what kind of difficulties, hardships, sickness, whatever. It's a done deal. His grace is sufficient. That wasn't my devotional tonight. My devotional was on something different. But when Paul brought that up, I'm thinking, do we truly take that verse to heart in our everyday lives when we're not really bombarded with something as devastating as cancer? Do we take that to heart? That His grace is sufficient? Or do we just kind of think, well, you know, it's okay. Everything's running pretty smooth. I don't have too many troubles. Until something major happens. And then it's like, how do we handle it? Do we handle it with the confidence of His grace is sufficient? Or do we say, it will be sufficient as long as I do my part? He's already done it. He's already done His part. His grace is sufficient. I consider myself blessed because I don't have health problems. I'm not afflicted with anything that slows me down much. But I realize that there is a lot of people around me that are like that. And I have to realize what they're going through. What kind of troubling things that are going on with them. And then I have to look at their life and say, wow, how are they handling it so well? How does Dina handle this so well? How does Jill handle her situation so well? Because they truly believe that verse. His grace is sufficient. I think sometimes we get a little lax in really taking these words to heart. That they're there, and we know Paul had a tough time in that, but put ourselves in his shoes. What if we were treated as Paul was here? When you look at all that he went through, the persecutions, in his weakness, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties, all those things, we don't really suffer much of that, do we? In our everyday lives, we don't suffer much for God. Not here in this country. What if we were in another country where carrying a Bible would get you thrown in jail? Where speaking God's word to someone might get you the death squad? How would we look at God's grace then? If we were struggling and suffering, if someone insults us here, oh, you're a Jesus freak. You're one of those. How does that affect us? Does it kind of get our goat sometimes? Does it maybe we flash hot a little bit? Why? Why would we? What does Paul say he does? This is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Because of His grace. Because of His grace. I know this wasn't the devotional I had planned tonight. I thought it was going to go a little bit longer, but what Paul had to say was kind of hit me. That we probably take that grace for granted sometimes. Think, well, it's okay. It's okay that we have it. But I think we should treat that grace with respect in the fact that He has given us His grace and we shouldn't abuse it. We shouldn't abuse it. What's it say? Should we go on sinning that grace may abound? No, we shouldn't do that. That grace is there for us because we are going to fail. We are going to have hardships and problems in our life. And He tells us His grace is there to help us through those, whatever it might be. I think we need to keep that in mind every day so that when we hit a wall sometimes, it's not the end of the world because His grace is there to help us. Dina is the perfect example of someone that takes all of this adversity, all of this stuff that's going on in her life, that she could have the attitude, why me, Lord? Why are you doing this to me? Haven't I been a good servant? Why are you putting me through this? Easily could be that way, couldn't we? Something like that happen? And yet, she treats it with such grace that, you know what? No matter what happens, she knows in the end she's going to be with the Lord. No matter what. And if it gets to be pretty painful here, His grace is there to help her. His grace is going to be much more effective than any treatment, any pain pill, anything. Because it is sufficient. If there's anyone tonight that needs to make a decision to follow Christ, or if there's anyone that has another need of any kind, let that be known as we stand and sing our closing song.